Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey admits it was wrong to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story. Joe Biden's coronavirus advisor wants another lockdown. Plus, Michigan's largest county fails to certify its election results. And then it does. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're having a great week. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with the testimony yesterday from Big Tech in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee because it was absolutely awesome. The Republicans were so on. They went after these CEOs at Facebook and Twitter and just laid into them. And we learned some shocking information about the practices over at Facebook and Twitter and their attitudes in general about this censorship. It was just unreal. Take a look at this. This is Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, his opening statement saying that it was wrong to censor the New York Post story on Joe and Hunter Biden.
We were called here today because of an enforcement decision we made against the New York Post based on a policy we created in 2018 to prevent Twitter from being used to spread hacked materials. This resulted in us blocking people from sharing a New York Post article, publicly or privately.
So Twitter blocked the story, a legitimate news story, because they said it violated their anti-hacking rule, when all you had to do was look at the story, just read the story, and see that there was no hacking involved. It was obvious and clear to see. But Dorsey said that they rushed to the decision, they didn't have all the information, and then he added this.
Upon further consideration, we admitted this action was wrong and corrected it within 24 hours. We informed the New York Post of our error and policy update and how to unlock their account by deleting the original violating tweet, which freed them to tweet the exact same content and news article again. They chose not to, instead insisting we reverse our enforcement action.
All right, keep in mind that this is just the opening statement, but you can already see how corrupt Big Tech is because he said that this problem was corrected in 24 hours. And we know that is a flat out lie. I tried for days to share that link on Twitter, couldn't do it. Others tried for days. They took screenshots, they shared it, they were locked out. And then this whole idea that the New York Post was locked out because they didn't have a mechanism for reversing their anti-hacking policy, just turn them back on. We got conservatives get blocked all the time. They stay blocked until they complain, get a lot of news coverage, and then all of a sudden, just magically, they're back on. Give me a break that you couldn't do that with the New York Post. Well, then we have statements and questioning, like I said, from the Republican senators. Ted Cruz laid into these guys. Just look at how this is going to go. You can tell from his opening statement.
The three witnesses we have before this committee today collectively pose, I believe, the single greatest threat to free speech in America and the greatest threat we have to free and fair elections.
So Cruz ripped into Google and Facebook, but you could tell that his prime focus, his motivation was on Jack Dorsey and Twitter.
But today, I want to focus my questioning on Mr. Dorsey and on Twitter. Because of the three players before us, I think Twitter's conduct has by far been the most egregious. Mr. Dorsey, does Twitter have the ability to influence elections?
No.
No. Dorsey actually said no. And Cruz's reaction is just priceless. He was stunned. Check out this extended exchange between Cruz and Dorsey.
You don't believe Twitter has any ability to influence elections?
No, we are one part of a broad spectrum of communication channels that people have.
So you're testifying to this committee right now that Twitter, when it silences people, when it censors people, when it blocks political speech, that has no impact on elections?
People have choice of other communication channels with which.
Not if they don't hear information. If you don't think you have the power to influence elections, why do you block anything?
Well, we have policies that are focused on making sure that more voices on the platform are possible. We see a lot of abuse and harassment, which ends up silencing people and having them leave from the platform.
All right, Mr. Dorsey, I find your opening questions, your opening answers absurd on their face.
It's absolutely unreal, this stuff, folks. No wonder Cruz was so stunned. Dorsey says that Twitter doesn't influence elections because people have other choices. That's nonsensical. Dorsey said they have to stop harassment or people will go elsewhere. Well, guess what? Sharing voter fraud information on a public platform is not harassment. None of those statements, responses from Dorsey made any sense at all. Yet in the committee, we also learned some shocking information. Mark Zuckerberg over at Facebook admitted that Facebook can track users without their knowledge even after they leave Facebook. They talked about a central organization to monitor free speech and make decisions on what is acceptable. It's outrageous, folks. We're getting to the point where you can't share opinions. The other night, I saw a commentator talk about a physician, an epidemiologist, who shared his opinions on coronavirus. That was blocked because it was counter to the ordained, prescribed, approved talking points, the approved narrative. This is a doctor sharing an opinion, and that's blocked. And that's what these guys are talking about. And then Cruz laid into Twitter again for tagging all of these tweets with this information about voter fraud, saying, hey, this is disputed. And Dorsey just said, oh, it's just a link to a broader conversation on voter fraud, where Cruz just ripped him because all you have to do is click on the link to see that they are taking a policy position. Their position is that there's no evidence against widespread voter fraud. They are making a policy position that makes them a publisher, and that should get them out right now of any protections offered under Section 230. For sure, these people need to be sued, and we need to stop the censorship. So next, I want to talk about Joe Biden and his coronavirus advisor. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. We're now making our push for 150,000 subscribers, and we can do it with your help. So we talked about the nonsense of big tech. Now we move right into Joe Biden, who criticized President Trump up and down for the economy collapsing. Well, why did the economy collapse? Because governors chose to lock down their states. Now, Biden's coronavirus advisor, he wants another set of lockdowns to tap down on coronavirus, but also to jumpstart the economy. How ridiculous is that? And here's the story. Dr. Michael Osterholm, a coronavirus advisor to Joe Biden, said that a 4 to 6 week lockdown that shut down businesses and compensated workers for lost wages may curb the spread of the virus and get the economy on track until a vaccine is approved and distributed. Osterholm, the director of the Center of Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota, told Yahoo Finance Wednesday that the strategy would help decrease daily case counts and hospitalizations until an effective vaccine arrives. Yep, you heard it right. A national lockdown to destroy the economy again. But his take on it was that we're going to have a lockdown to tackle coronavirus and jumpstart the economy. How would that happen? You guessed it. Free money, free money, free money. And here's more. We could pay for a package right now to cover all of the wages, lost wages for individual workers, for losses to small companies, to medium-sized companies, or city, state, county governments, Osterholm said. If we did that, then we could lock down for 4 to 6 weeks. Earlier this week, Osterholm said the United States is heading towards COVID hell and said that people's growing unwillingness to wear masks and socially distance was due to pandemic fatigue, according to CNBC. All right, so everyone just sits at home and gets free money for the government. We're going to just pay and pay and pay for 6 weeks. It's nonsensical, folks. Here's the deal. Since March, we've seen the cycle of coronavirus, the big spike, the summer surge. Now again, we had states locked down. We had states that didn't. We have mandatory mask mandates. We don't have any. It doesn't matter. The virus is going to do what it's going to do. These states with the big lockdowns and mask mandates, still same surges. The surges are going on around the world, folks. This isn't a Trump deal. It is a global deal. And what we've shown is that lockdowns and masks don't work. They don't make a difference. A recent survey showed that 85% of people always or often wear masks. They're still getting it. Lockdowns here, no lockdowns there. It doesn't matter. All right. So next, an election update, because there is a lot going on. There's a lot to cover. And I want to give you a few bullet points and then talk about Michigan. Over in Georgia, another county, this is the second county, just found ballots. They just found ballots. Weeks after the election, they found ballots. They're going to count. In Pennsylvania, we learned that the rejection rate of mail-in ballots is 30 times lower than it was in 2016. 30 times lower. That is why, it makes common sense. They're pushing Republican observers out, not letting them observe, and just accepting all these ballots that they know to be bogus. 30 times lower rejection rate than in 2016. And people aren't allowed to observe. You connect the dots, you do the math. In Georgia, again, the other thing to keep in mind is that they're going through this hand recount, but it's all bogus, folks. They're just taking the stack of ballots that were counted and now counting them by hand. They are not looking at signature verifications and to make sure that these were valid votes to begin with. So the process is just a waste of time. Then we have Michigan, the largest county, the one that includes Detroit. Their board of elections, a 4-person board, voted last night around 6 o'clock is when the news broke to not certify the results. And why? Because 71% of their precincts in that area had voter discrepancies. 71%. So the 2 Democrats on the board said, yeah, let's certify them. The 2 Republicans voted no. There's too much discrepancy there. Well, then just a few hours later, and people started tweeting about this. This is great news, standing up. Well, then guess what? Then the pressure came down. These 2 Republicans were pressured. They changed their votes. Then it became unanimous. And here is part of a Zoom call with these members and other people going after them, even calling them racist. Ned Stabler, the chief executive of Tech Town, who, according to the New York Times, is a poll challenger at the TCF Center in the city, said in a viral Zoom meeting, the Trump stain, the stain of racism that you, William Hartman, and Monica Palmer have covered yourself in is going to follow you throughout history. He said the 2 would forever be known in southeastern Michigan as 2 racists who did something so unprecedented that they disenfranchised hundreds of thousands of black voters in the city of Detroit. Give me a break. This is outrageous. And this, again, this is what you see with Obama and other people, that challenging, that standing up for voter integrity somehow is a threat to our democracy, is what they're saying. An actual threat. There's 71% of the precincts had discrepancies, but because it's majority black area, we're supposed to just let it go. We're not supposed to stand up for voter integrity. In this constitutional republic, if we don't have faith in our elections, we have nothing, folks. And yet these folks were pressured. They changed their vote. All right. So next, let's talk about some more outrageousness. We see the rules that are starting to be issued coming into Thanksgiving from states like California and Chicago area and Illinois and in New York. Just outrageous things. You can't sing or chant in California. Other places are issuing mask mandates inside your home. You have to limit your gatherings. How they know that 10 is better than 12 or 15, it makes no sense. All of it is arbitrary. And again, the virus is going to do what it's going to do. We know who is vulnerable. So if you lock down everybody, a subset of that are the vulnerable people. So if they want to be locked down, if they want to restrict their interactions with folks, the rest of the people can go on with their lives. They don't need to lose their jobs. They don't need to close down their businesses. But they have these arbitrary rules because it gives the left and these Democrat leaders more control. Well, here's something that's outrageous, and it's right here in Houston, in Harris County. They are now going to go door to door getting blood samples from homeowners. Here's the story. Harris County Public Health will survey residents for COVID-19 antibodies in an effort to determine how many people already have been infected with the novel coronavirus, the department said. Beginning last Sunday, health workers will visit randomly selected homes and ask residents to answer questions and provide blood samples. Can you believe this? They better be careful walking on people's property asking for blood samples. But this is how things are going, folks. That's here in Texas, but these other states are having these massive lockdowns, which we've already seen again, that lockdowns don't work. Now they're going door to door asking for blood samples. Folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.